So, all right, let's go ahead and get started in the first one. Now, the first one I want to talk about, and the topic is on DJ live streaming. If you haven't started DJ live streaming now, and this is your first time, and you don't know what to get or what to do, this is the point that you want to start, because right now at this point, this is what that we're going to be doing, or this is what I'm going to be talking about to get you started. So right now, the first segment is what I want to talk about is audio and video. And as for audio, we're going to go into audio first because that plays an important part. Now, with this video, this entire video, I will not be doing, and I repeat, not be doing anything related to iRigs. So if you have an iRig and you're looking for information on how to make your iRig videos better, then this is not the video for you. If you're looking to upgrade to better quality, better sound, and so forth, to add layouts, to make your stuff extravagant, to make it look more professional, then this is the video that you want to check out. This is what you want to watch. So put that iRig away. I may be mentioning a little bit on TRRS, but it's only going to be minor detail stuff as for what some people need to know, because TRRS is something a lot of people is just now finding out about, but they don't know exactly how it works. So I'm going to explain a little bit of that in detail. So, all right, let me get my PowerPoint up. All right, first thing I'm going to be talking about audio. Now, with audio, we're going to go into first cables. Cables is for if you're going directly from your controller or your mixer to your computer, and everything here is either a desktop computer or a laptop or MacBook Pro or iMac or whatever. It's all computer related. So think about that. So I'm gonna be telling about the cables. I'm gonna mention the difference between TRRS and TS, which ones that you're gonna need and how they're gonna work to help you get your stream. Secondly, I'm gonna be going through and I'm gonna list some, and there's gonna be visuals along with this too. There are certain audio interfaces that you can use in order to make your sound good. If you're a producer or whatever, you may have one of these devices laying around. You may have something similar to it lying around. But this is another device that you can use to make your sound better between your controller, your mixer, and your computer. Also, if you have a studio and if you have a certain mixer that has a USB port on the back of it, a USB type B port, you can also use that to make your sound better. Now, if you have a mixer, you can do a little bit more and you can add more to your stream than what you would with just your mixer. You could add more mics. You could even add more setups. If you're doing a multi-setup in one stream in one room, then you can have two setups going in at the same time. That's something that you can do with the line mixer. Fourth thing that you want to know is that there are devices that you probably don't even know that I've either ran across or that I've had or I've seen other people that have used that you could use to stream from, besides what I've mentioned so far. Whether it's cable is more of a direct, USB audio interfaces and line mixers give you a digital signal. The cables give you an analog signal. The line mixers and audio faces will give you more of a direct signal. So some of the stuff is stuff that you'd be like, oh, I got one of those. I didn't even know I could use that. Or wait a minute, you could use that. I think I have one of those. It's other devices that you can use to make your stream sound better. And then lastly, a lot of people don't know, with certain mixers and controllers, you could use those mixers and controllers to make your stream sound awesome. So, all right, let's get started. And the first one we're going to talk about is cables. The cable that you see in the top right corner is the cable that you would primarily need. If you're going from your mixer, your controller directly into your computer, laptop, or whatever. Now, the tip on that one, if you look right here, the tip on it is it has 3 bands or it has 2 rings on it. Now, what I mean by the rings are the black lines that separate each band, but you have 3 different bands. You have a tip, which is at the very end, and you have a ring, which is in the middle, and then you have the sleeve, which is closest to the bottom or to the plastic. And each one of those does a different thing, and I'm going to explain that a little bit later in the next slide. Now, the 2 cables below it are exactly the same. The purplish blue cable is what I use. That is that's a monster cable version of what, and I just happen to have I keep a lot of those cables on hand. These are the cables that I have, and I have a bunch of them, and I have them for sale, $5 each. Some of them are basic cables, and these are TRRS, which is tip ring sleeve. Here's a brand new one right here. May not be able to see it, maybe too much light. Let me see if I can turn the light down a little bit. But you can't really see it any much. But there's 3 RCAs on it, and in the next video, there's a reason that you need to know that. I have a different one in here. This one is a retractable one. May not be able to see that too good either. It retracts, which means I can pull it out and I can stretch it. And when I'm done with it, I just pull it a little bit and it retracts back into each other. Now, these are cables that you could use, and you could use these for you could use them for phones, and you could use them for computers. So that is one cable that you want to have in handy. And like I say, it's like the cable that's on at the bottom, the 2 cables on the bottom. Now, the cable with the red, white, and yellow, and I pulled this out because I want y'all to see this too. If you have one of these, an old high 8mm camcorder that take 8mm tapes, this is probably what you would have used that cable for. So if you got an old cable that's in a camcorder bag, then that cable that is the cable that you want to use, because that cable would have plugged into, try to find where is the port on this one. It's over here. It would have plugged right here into this yellow port, right here where my finger is. And what that allows you to do, it allows you to project your video from the camcorder onto your TV, to where that right there is basically a 3.5mm TRRS to composite. Composite is red, white, and yellow, with red being your right audio, left being your red being your right audio, left being your white audio. Wait a minute, let me make sure. Right being your red, right side being your red RCA, left side being your white RCA, and video being your yellow RCA. But when you're using them in the case of what people are using them for now, the yellow plays a different role, and that's what my other video, the next clip. Let me go to that. Now, here is the next clip. The next clip The next clip is showing the differences between TRS and TRRS. If you look at the top picture, you see that it has 4 different bands. TRS has 4, where TRS has only 3. And the difference is, because right here, this is TRS and this is TRS, where the difference is that the ground on the TRS is split in half to produce another band. Now, whenever you're using a headset, like say for instance, and your cell phone or whatever, that 4th band is used for your microphone. Whenever you listen to the audio, the left, the right, and the ground is used for your headphones, but then also the ground and the mic is used for your inline microphone, if you have an inline microphone or whatever. So that's what it's used for in that case. But in the case when you're streaming to your phone or whatever, that microphone is also your input. So if you're sending a signal in from your mixer or your controller, it is using that microphone path in order to get your sound through. All right, now, next, audio interfaces. Like I mentioned, you may have one of these audio interfaces available and that you could use right now. Now, there's several different types. There's the Focusrite Scarlett, which is a popular one, and then there's also the Personas. There's several different others that are out there. You just probably need to find the one that you have and make sure that one works for the purpose that you want to use it for. And this is to stream USB. On the back of these, you have your USB port. It connects into your computer and you plug in your inputs from the front. And then you adjust your gains, your volumes, or whatever. And when you go into whatever software that you're using, which I'll go into that later, you're going to do your streams from there. So you make sure in your sound or your microphone that you choose whatever audio interface that you're using, and that's audio interfaces. Now, the same with audio interfaces, you have some line mixers that have this same capability. It's really not anything more than you just have more channels to add more stuff. A lot of these mixers that have USB are used for recording. So you have to take that connection, and they don't require drivers. So that makes it a whole lot easy to use because the computer may recognize it by default. So you take that and you connect it up to your computer, and then whatever application you're using, whether you're using Facebook, going to Facebook Live, or whatever you're using, OBS, whatever that we'll talk about later, you make sure you select that device as your sound card, and that's USB line mixers. Now, another thing that I mentioned that a lot of people don't know about is that you could have some devices around, like some of the devices that I'm listing here, that you could use as USB converting. Now, the one at the top on the left, the Mixmeister, I actually have that one. So when I found that one, I'm like, oh, I could use this as a sound card. And with that one, I was able to use it both for a mobile device, as for with a phone, an iPad, and I was also able to use it with the controller. I actually did the demo on it late at night with my NS7, and I did it from both computer and the phone. Well, I did it from the phone because I don't usually do phone streaming, but I did it to check to see if a certain connection will work. Now, the other device it's a sound card. It could be like the audio interface. It was actually in the autophase video, but it's not as much, or you don't have as much feature or capability with that one as you do the other one. Now, this is something that's real crazy. If you're a person that used to convert a lot of VHS tapes and high 8mm tapes to digital, you may have a device like this, or you may have an installed card like this. Now with this, you can do the same thing, but the only thing you're only going to use red and white. And you go into your application or software, whatever you're using, and you find this device in there and say, hey, I want to use this for a sound card. And you're basically streaming. It's the same thing as everything else, but it can also do video too, but you're only using it for audio. So that's a digital sound. It's not like a cable to where you're doing analog. It's more of a digital because you're converting analog to digital in one device. All right, let's move on. All right, and lastly, and I found this out recently too, you could also use mixers and controllers to do your streaming. Now this takes a little bit more adjustment, but it's not that hard. And there are applications out there that you can purchase and download that will make this a lot easier. Now what we have, and there are other mixers out there that can do this. You just need to make sure that yours will be compatible with what I'm going to show later in the video. But you have the Pioneer DDJ S9, which is in the top right corner. Below it, you have the Rain 62, which also any of the 60 series mixers and the newer 70 series mixers can do this. And you also have various controllers that can do it. Now, I only got a picture of a few controllers that can do it. The Numark NS6 2, not Mark 1, but 2. The Pioneer DDJ SZ and SZ2, and then the Pioneer DDJ SX3, which also I find. And what you're looking for a device that can order to do this is this right here. You want to make sure that you have 2 USB ports, and this is the rear connection of all those devices and where those ports are. This one is the Rain 62 right here, the S9, the NS6, and then let's see, you got the which one is this? I think this is the SX3, and I may have it up here twice. The SX3 and the SZ3. No, excuse me, the SZ1 and 2. Now, what you're looking for 2 input USB ports. Now, with those input ports, what you can do, you will connect, and it's best that you use 2 computers to do this, because you're going to be putting a toll on your computer if you are trying to do this from one system. Now, you can do it, and there's some people that I know that does it, and they haven't had any issues. Now, if you're using one of these devices with probably with virtual DJ, something that uses less CPU power and not a whole lot of RAM, but your computer is maxed out or your laptop is maxed out, then you may be able to do this. But usually I recommend doing 2 computers, which is what I do. I may have my MacBook or this Asus that I'm running right now, which is an i5. My MacBook is an i7. I use that for just DVS only. And then I would use the other one for streaming, which means I have separate screens. I don't have to toggle back and forth between to see what my streaming is and then go back into my DVS so I can pick my next track and see what I'm playing. I have 2 computers right there. It's no more than when I'm finished looking at one, I have my track set up, then I can look, oh, my stream is good. Oh, I have this many viewers. Oh, I'm checking out the comments here or whatever. So at this point, I got everything to where I'm seeing what's going on. That's why you want to have it separate. Now, what you're doing with the ports is for what you see here, use one port for your regular DVS, whether you're using Serato, Tractor, Virtual DJ, Final Scratch, Torque, Mix Vibes, Mix, whatever you're using, you use that one for your music on that computer. Then you take another USB, plug it in, and you run into the other computer, or if you're using the same computer, into the same computer, and whatever application that you're using to stream, whether it's Facebook Live, or if you're using OBS, whether it's OBS or OBS Streams, if you're using vMix or even iSplit Broadcaster, which is another program I'm using, that you use that to send your stream or even record to, if you want to record your video. And it's best that you always, whenever you're streaming, if you can, record your sets, record your streams. Don't rely on Facebook or Twitch or YouTube or whatever, because in some cases they may not mute your stream or may not block out your stream. They may do it in the end result. So this gives you an opportunity to where you can also record, but have everything separate. That's what you want to do. You want to have everything separate. But this is how that you would need to do it. If you have problems, there are programs that you can purchase and download that can allow the routing to be a little bit more easier. But I just want to mention that this is an option that you can use. All right, now to video. Now, video is a little bit different, and there's really not much. Well, there is a lot with video. So I'm gonna go in and explain the different options that you have in order to get your video set up. Now, the first one, of course, is webcams. There's many different out there. What you want to do, you want to make sure you choose the right webcam. Most of the streaming that's available out there, you can't get no higher than 1080p. YouTube, you could do 4K, and they may move it up to where you can do 8K later. But when you're streaming at anything that's higher than 720 or 1080, you're using up a lot of bandwidth, which it can affect your stream. Your computer, your video card, everything takes a higher toll. So one thing that you want to check, you want to make sure that you're just not overdoing it a whole lot. But we'll get into more of that later. And also action cams. Action cams make, and I have a few here, which one is right here that I use as an overhead. I'm gonna mention action cams. Action cams can be used in two different ways. Also, mobile devices. You can pull out those old phones, whether it's Android or Apple. You could use those devices as streaming cams. I'm also mentioning that, as well as what apps that you need to look for in order to do it. Also, DSLR cams. DSLR cams is this, to where it looks like a 35mm camera, but it's not, because they're actually digital. And a lot of these DSLR cams can also not only do photos, but they can do video too. And I'm gonna talk about that a little bit as for how you can use those. And you can use those two ways, depending on which type you have. You can use those in two ways. That one right there, I can use it two different ways. And I'll explain that when I get to that point. And also HDMI devices, which is like some of the devices, the action cams you could use as an HDMI device, the DSLRs you could use as a HDMI device, and then there are a few others that you can also use HDMI devices. And then I'm also mentioning a little bit about the device that you would need in order to bring them together. So let me take a quick drink real quick, and then we can get into that. All right, now webcams. Not really a whole lot to say about webcams other than make sure whatever you choose, make sure that it's streaming what you want to do. You don't want to do anything that's at 480. You want to do 720, and that's what you want to look for. You want to make sure that it does 720 at 30 frames per second or 30 FPS per second, 30 frames per second, or you may even find something at 60. So make sure that you're doing at least 720 or higher. Anything at 4K, which the only one that I could think of that can stream at 4K for actual webcam is the Logitech Brio. The Logitech Brio right now runs about 300 and up. So I wouldn't really invest that much into that. So stay with either one of the cams that I have here. Now, the Microsoft cam that you see at the top left, that's the camera that I'm streaming from now. This is the one that I use here in the studio. I decided to get rid of a lot of my extra webcams because I want to go up to HDMI devices. But this is one that I decided I like this one. It streams pretty good. I'm gonna keep this one. Now, also the most popular one is the one at the bottom, which is the Logitech C920. Those right now are running about 200 up with people working from home, people doing streaming like Zooming, Messenger Rooms, Skype, what's the Google Hangout, and Microsoft. I can't remember what the Microsoft one is, but everybody's doing video conferencing, whether they're working from home or whether they're keeping in touch with family. So the abundance of webcams have been depleted. It's kind of hard to find them, and if you do find them, the prices on them has risen extremely high. Now, I've been getting rid of some of mine to upgrade for equipment. I haven't charged outrageous prices. I've just asked the basic. Like I got one more C920 I'm getting rid of. I sold a C920 and a C925, and I mean 120 was about what I wanted to sell it for. So the last one, it'll be gone at 120, hopefully before the end of this week. Now, the one in the top left is something new. That is the Waze or Wise Cam, WYZE. It's actually a security camera. It's actually a security camera, but the company has created a firmware that you can download and turn it into a 1080 webcam. So you can turn it into a webcam. The only additional thing that you need a USB-A to USB-A cord in order to connect it to your computer, because it's not wireless. To connect it to your computer, and then you need a micro SD card to upload the firmware on and into the camera. So a lot of people have been going, and those right there, they've been selling a lot too. But that's the newest thing that you can use as for a webcam. Now, the next one, and I also mentioned this too, are action cams. I have 2 or 3. Well, I have 2. And where's the one I had in my hand? I had one in my hand to where I didn't need to take my other one down. Okay, here we go. Now, your action cams they're usually about this small. I think for the ones that I have, the one that's right here, this one is, it does 1080 with the highest being a 1080 at 60 frames per second. I think I paid probably maybe about less than $30 for this one. It's a good camera. I use this one a whole lot. It comes with a lot of the accessories that you see. And then also I have another one. This one does 4K, up to 4K at 30 frames per second, I think. So these make great cameras to have. I mean, the sound on them is horrible. So if you're looking for something that you're looking to capture sound as well as video, you may want to go with another option. But a lot of these action cams is not the focus of sound. A lot of people focus on the video, and in this case, you actually focusing on the video because you're going to turn off the sound, and when you stream to them, you're not going to really use the sound that is capturing. You're going to use another device, whether it's your mixer, your controller, or even if you're using a microphone, you're going to use a different input source. You're not going to really use the one on this. But these make great cameras, and they also serve as two purpose. You can also stream directly as for USB by plugging into, you probably can't see it, but there's a USB port at the bottom. The bottom port is a micro USB. The top port is HDMI, which I'm also going to mention these later, and they both have these ports. So that's why I recommend getting these, because you can get great quality. You can get great quality and great sound. What's up, Big Scully? Let me check in real quick and see who's here. Let's see. Same here. We're in it now pretty quick. Okay. All right. What's up, Silent Assassin? What's going on? All right. Cool. Now, like I said, the action cams are great cams to use. I recommend getting these because they serve more purposes than most, especially with a regular webcam. The webcam, you're only limited to a computer, but this becomes a webcam and a whole lot more. So that's one. And there's different types. Some of the popular ones, the Cross Tour, and also mention this too, these webcams, a majority that you may find, they only work for Windows. Now, the Cross Tour, which is this one, let me go back to my photo. The Cross Tour, this one right here at the bottom left, can be used for Windows and Mac. So that would be a great purchase if you're Mac fans. Everything else is mostly Windows. And in this with the action cams, I don't mention the GoPro because the GoPro does not have the ability to be used as an action cam like these are. These can be used as a double function. The GoPro is a single function because it only has an HDMI port on it, on most of them, with the older ones. I heard that the newer one, which is the GoPro 8, I think it's the 8 or the 9, it has the ability to where you can stream. I think either, and also a lot of these can stream wireless as for directly to your phone. So you can have it attached to your head or whatever to make sure your angle's right, and you can sync it up to your phone, make the adjustments or whatever. But it's not really used that much in what we're talking about today, but that's just something else that I want to mention. All right, and next, pull out those old phones. If you got an old Android phone or an Apple phone, you can use those phones to do your live streaming. You can connect them up. You could do Wi-Fi, or you can use a charging syncing cable, which I prefer using the charging or syncing cable because you will have less latency and less dropout, especially if your router is far away and to where it won't connect properly, or you may lose connection or whatever. But now you can pull out those old mobile phones, because now you can connect to where you can use those phones as a camera. Now, here are some of the apps that I found, and a lot of them that I've tried or used, to where you can use as a webcam. Right here, you have the Droid Cam, which it also works for Apple and Android. You have IP webcam right here. This one is a Canoni EpoCam, which is one I used in the beginning. They have I think 3 different versions. The green one with the green background, that one is the free one if you want to try it. It puts a watermark across it, so you would have to purchase this version, which this version starts out at $7.99, and then they have a multicam version that is $19.99. Also, this one right here, this is the camera for OBS Studio, which is a version that was created to use with OBS. It's I think it's $16.99. IP Cam and IP Cam Pro is a version. I'm not sure on the price, but it's available for Apple and Android. NDI has one, NDI HX. Let me see, what was the price on that one? Oh, I think that one was a free. That one was a free. And then also you have IV Cam. IV Cam, I think is, I'm not for sure, but it may be $6.99 as well. Now, a lot of these you could use as Wi-Fi to connect, but like I said earlier, you get the best results when you work with a cable connection. So make sure that you connect your cable and have it connected there. That way you have less latency. And also, you're not going to record audio to this. So make sure whenever you have a connection, you just using the video only. Now, like a lot of these, some of them won't work for all operating systems. You have to have the program installed on your computer, and you have to have it install the app on your phone. So it's not just the app alone. You also have to download a program. Usually what you end up paying for the app, and then you have to download the program. So make sure you look into it. A lot of these are priced $20 or less. The EpoCam was the only one that was the highest. It was if you get the multicam version, it was around $20. And let's see, the camera for OBS was $16.99. But I think all of them were like in the single digits or somewhere close to $10. So make sure you go check the reviews, check and see what other issues that people may have on it. If they have a free version or a demo version, trial version, or whatever, try it and see if you like it. And also make sure you check it out before you get it. Don't just, well, I like this one, it looks good, but then you may have problems with it on your phone. If you have the option to check it out, make sure that you do so, especially with the trial and the free version, because usually the full version is the one that's going to give you better resolution and better quality. So make sure that you check that out whenever you're doing that. Now, like I mentioned earlier, DSLR cameras you can use as a webcam too. Using these as a webcam, and you have specific one, requires this program in the top right corner, Sparkle Cam. Now, the Sparkle Cam only works for the Canon and the Nikon. If you look at the bottom right picture, and let me see if I can blow that up. All right, you see right here, that you can connect as a Canon, and then the Nikon camera can also connect to. And this is your preview screen over here. So for Canon and Nikon, it will work. Now, with that as well, and let me go back to me so you can see what's going on. When you're using it just as a basic webcam, and like I said, with the just like with the action cam, this is also a dual purpose. This camera, you have to have a USB port. You can't. This one will not work. The app will not work with the HDMI. May not be able to see this, and I'm trying to peel it back. But you see, this camera, you're looking at the port in the middle. The middle is a mini, USB mini, that I can connect it to the computer. And then the bottom little slot, that's not an SD card slot. That's a HDMI cable. So I can use that as an HDMI device. The HDMI will give you a higher resolution than the mini SD. So when I connect this up, USB to my computer and then use the Sparkle Cam, it will give me a resolution about, well, with this camera, it does 720, but I'm gonna show you in a little while to how I can get this camera upscale to 1080. So you have a few cameras, the Canon within the Canons and the Nikon. The Canon, that one that I just showed was a Rebel T5. Any of them that have the USB ports, you can use for this purpose. So make sure that if you're going out to buy one, if you be like, oh, I always wanted to get a DSLR camera, so I could use it for this purpose and photos and other stuff, make sure you choose the right one. Make sure you check the ports on it. Make sure you check the specs on it. Make sure you check everything before you buy it. Just don't go and buy it because, I just said, make sure that it's compatible, because I found out some of them aren't compatible. Even, and this is just recently now since I'm thinking about it, the Canons, the EOS, well, not the EOS, but there's another class of Canons, as well as the T6 and up. They have released a program on their site to where you could turn it into a webcam, where you don't need this. They just didn't have it. It wasn't compatible with the T5. Dang it. To where I can use this one without having to use Spark Cam. But I'm going a different option. I'm going a different route with mine. So I'm really not worried about it. But this is if you want to get DSLR, which I can't remember what the DSLR, digital something. Anyway, DSLR, Google it. All right, and lastly, HDMI devices. Now, this is if you want the best and high quality of your streams. Now, when you get this, it requires, this is if you're doing multi-camera operations, if you want to have separate cameras, and I'm gonna get to camera angles and stuff later on, but just remember that I'm saying this. You can use all these devices, and you can use all these devices here for your to do a HDMI stream. And when I mean HDMI, I mean anything that's over 1080 and up, even 720. You could use your GoPro, because your GoPro has a HDMI port. Your Canon or Nikon cameras, even your action cams. Your action cam now has that double purpose. And then also, and I forgot to bring this one down. And I don't have one out. I have any camera, Sony camcorder that you have that have an HDMI out on it. You can also use that. And I have two. So basically, I have two cameras that I can use to where I can do as an HDMI device. Now, the device in the bottom left, that's the Blackmagic ATME Mini, and then there's the Mini Pro. This one is the Mini Pro. Now, what this does, and if you look, and let me see if I can zoom in on that. The HDMI Mini Pro has 4 HDMI inputs. 4 HDMI inputs, 2 mic inputs, which I think both they're stereo each. Then you have your HDMI out. You also have a not micro, but a USB-C port that you would connect to your computer. And if you want to stream directly from this device, you can stream directly from it by connecting this up to your network. Now, this is what I'm planning on upgrading to, because I have the Canon camera. I have 2 action cams, which they have HDMI ports out on it, and then I have 2 Sony camcorders that I can use. So I have 5 cameras that I could use to get a better quality than what I'm getting now. Now with the ATM Mini and Mini Pro, is that you're doing everything manually. You're switching over, but you're getting a lot of options that you would have to do. And you can also use this in OBS too. But this is the deal with this. And then the touch-ups on this, with this, you could use any camcorder that has a HDMI out, whether it's a camera like my Rebel T5, or what you see here with the ones that I have, the Nikon and the Canon, or any Olympus, whatever you have that has an HDMI out that records video, you can use that. The action cams, which now you've gone from a regular webcam to a HDMI cam. And also any Sony HDR, what's the other one? DRC, or whatever camcorders are. And they don't have to be Sony. It could be another brand. It could be Panasonic. It can be JVC. Whatever you have that has a HDMI out. Anything that has an HDMI output on it, you can use it as a streaming device, either with the Mini, or you can buy certain capture cards that can either be installed in your computer or connect to it via USB. And the company that you want to look for that is Elgato, ELGATO. You look for that. The mobile device is the Elgato HD60, and I think there's the HD120, which I think that one either as an external device or an internal card that you would install in a PCIe slot. All right. Also, well, I just mentioned that it's going to require a switcher or a HDMI capture device or a card to work. I mentioned the Blackmagic ATM Mini. The price for that, the Mini runs at $300. The Mini Pro runs at $600. The difference between the two, the Pro has the advantage. The Pro adds, besides the Mini, it adds multi-view. It can give you a full multi-view screen, which gives you a program and a preview. It also gives you the option to show your 4 inputs, and also you can add in video or an image source. You can set your stream. It does your audio, and it tells you your streaming speeds and stuff. So it does a whole lot more, as well as you can record directly from the device. You can either you can plug USB-C whether it's external hard drive or if you have a flash drive, you can plug and record directly into it. So it gives you a little bit more options. This is the one that I'm looking to get. I'm not sure that when I'm gonna be able to get it, because these items sell fast and a lot of places have them on back order that do carry them. So eventually, hopefully I'll be able to get one soon. But with the Mini and the Mini Pro, even with my Rebel T5 streams at 720. This will upgrade. It will take everything, whether I'm using my action cams at 720 or whatever I'm putting in it, it will upscale it to where everything is even. So if my DSLR is 720, but everything else is 1080, it will upscale it to match, which that's great, because at that point you won't notice the difference between your sources. And that's one thing I'm looking for to get out of that. Let's see. And well, that's it for that. That I went through that in probably less than 30 minutes. And let me see. All right, I'm checking in. Let's see what yeah, but with the wireless, like I mentioned with the wireless, and I did look into the GoPro. I heard that you stream wireless, but you have that latency. And if you're not ready for that latency, it's going to throw you off. You're going to have to offset your audio in order to catch up with it. Now, whatever device that you're using besides the basic webcam, you're probably going to have a latency. If you're using your phone, you may have a latency. These, I'm not sure if you're going to have a latency on. I can't remember if I do have a latency on them, because they're used as like my C920. They're used about the same. It's like the same type of connections, except this. My bad. I accidentally clicked off. I got to quit hitting that backspace button. But anyway, this one will serve more purpose. Now I heard the GoPro 8s added. I'm not for sure if they have do they have the micro USB port on it. That's one thing that I want to know. But I did hear that you can stream wireless from it, but I don't know whether it works with OBS or not, which is why I didn't really recommend that as an action cam, because then that is the only one where your action cams, they are like a dime a dozen, to where you can spend $40-$50 for a good one and be able to stream and do other stuff, especially once everything is over and people are out. You can start streaming from your mobile or actually recording your sets. You may not be able to get the sound, which I recommend recording your sound from your application, your software, your program, your DVS program or whatever, and then later merging the video together, editing to where you have your video and your audio sync and track to where everything is playing in line, which that's not really hard to do. You just have to find one point in your video and your audio, like whether it's a finger snap or something, some type of clap or something that you do, to where you can indicate where your audio and your video needs to line up. And then everything else just falls in place. But okay, that's it for the first segment. Whew, that was a lot. Now, I just about drunk up all my tea, and I've only been 30 minutes. Now, everything else that I'm going to be doing is mostly hands-on. And I'll be doing it from this laptop. And so now, let me take a quick break for a second, kind of get myself together, and then I'm going to get started in the next segment. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back, and now we're about to get started into the next segment. The next segment is OBS setups. Now, I got a little short PowerPoint on this as well that's going to explain some stuff about the differences between the two. The program that I'm going to be talking about is OBS. OBS is basically free. A lot of people are using it now. There are other options out there. There's XSplit Broadcaster, which is a program that I use that I also have. And then there's also, I think it's vMix. vMix is another program that you can subscribe to and buy in order to use. Now, those programs give you a lot more function than what the basic OBS. OBS also has another version that's purchased by a company called Streamlabs. They have their own versions. This is open source. They offer a lot more. So here is what we're about to go into for it. Now, here are the differences that I found out between the two. Now, you got OBS. OBS, the original version, is free and it's open source, which means open source is that you can take it and alter it however that you want to. And that's what Streamlabs did. They took their own version. They've added their layers. They added a whole bunch of features to where it looks somewhat different than the original version. Now, the Streamlabs version is free as well, but there's in-app purchases that you can get when you purchase the Prime package, to where you can buy certain overlays and layouts. You can purchase a lot of features like a time clock. Now, all this is all good because Streamlabs market this for the gaming community. So that's what it's used for. I prefer using the original OBS, which where I start with learning to do something manually makes it a lot easier to where you can use it in both. So what I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be using the original OBS and not as much Streamlabs. I don't even think I have Streamlabs installed on here, so I will have to install it. Now, also with the OBS, it's a lot of stuff you do is manual. You have to create everything manually, from scratch, which means that you will get to learn it a little bit more. As for with Streamlabs, it's more GUI interface. It may ask you more questions. There may be more stuff that you may have to pick, but it gives you an advanced user experience than what you would with the original OBS. Now, the OBS, it lacks a lot of additional features and functionality that you'll find with the Streamlabs. The Streamlabs is easier to set up, and like I said earlier, it's mostly something that a lot of gamers would use because the way that they have the layouts, everything that you would see in Prime is mostly a gamer's type layout. One thing that, manually, if you want to get overlays in the original, I hear that there are some for free, which I haven't looked into that. But other than that, you would have to make them manually by either using Photoshop or Illustrator or whatever type of photo or or graphic design program that you want to use in order to create it, and then you import it into OBS as an image. Now with Streamlabs have a lot of different templates that you can purchase with the Prime subscription, to where you can go in, you can purchase the template, and then you just edit out how you want to. You add your social information, your social media information in, change the colors. You can do all that stuff within that version. Now with some of the stuff that the two differ, and this is some of the stuff that like I don't really need to use that in Streamlabs, so I continue using OBS. But I kind of played with both a lot to see, what the difference is. So with the original Streamlab, you can't do donations. You can't set up the donations into it. There may be a plugin or a script that you can add, but as for just directly in it, you can't put the donations in unless you find a link, a browser link, or a script or a plugin to incorporate that in it. Now with Streamlabs, like I said, set up for gamers. Gamers have the options to get donations. Is something that's incorporated in that package. The OBS, there's no built-in features. Everything you have to do is manually. Now, with stuff like alerts, widgets, layouts, and chatbox, you have to do it manually on OBS, but in Streamlabs, it comes included, to where all you do, you just put in whatever information, change your colors, your text, whatever stuff that you need to change, you can do it directly in there. Now, the thing that I found out that too many people haven't said between the two that I mentioned, and the reason that I do sometimes use the Streamlabs, is that when you're building a scene or you add a source or whatever, you click on something, you may have the wrong thing highlighted and you hit delete. When you delete it, it's gone. You can't bring it back. You can't undo it. That's with the original Streamlab. But in OBS, you can hit Control and Z, or Control and I think it's Control and Y, and you can undo and redo the previous steps. So if OBS can update that function to where they can add that will be nice. The only other thing that I didn't mention in here now, since I'm thinking about it, that I didn't mention is the layout screen. The layout screen with Streamlabs is limited, and that's the dashboard, to where you can get stuff put how you want it. And this, I explain this a little bit more once I start going into it, because I like my layout a little bit different. But with the original Streamlab, you can move your source panels and your scene panels and your controls, your mixer. You can put them anywhere over the screen. And that's what I like, because I like my layout to be centered to where I have my my program screen as large as I can see it. So that's just a lot of stuff that that differs. There may be more, but this is what I'm sharing today. All right, so PowerPoint, I'm done with that. That was it for doing a PowerPoint. Now we're about to get dirty with some hands-on stuff. All right, let me check out the comments real quick. I see I got another comment in. All right, let's see. Streamlabs is one of the services that you set up your donations through. You can set it up with them and still use OBS. Streamlabs OBS will automatically take the info. Yeah, but with that, I found that out with the chat box too. Along with that, in order to get the chat box into original OBS, I had to go and do some options in streamlabs.com or whatever the Streamlabs link is, which I'm gonna go into that a little bit later too. And I'm for sure with your donations, you have to do the same. So with donations in original OBS, there's no direct feature listed in it to where you can add your donations. It all have to be added manually, or you have to find a plugin, which I haven't really messed with donations. I just mentioned that a lot of DJs may be like, oh, I didn't know you could do donations. Yes, you can do donations. Now the option is available with the Streamlabs, but with the original OBS, it's not available up front. Like I said, you either have to create a script or download a plugin or whatever. That's what I was saying, that it's not immediately accessible as it is with Streamlabs. And that's what I meant by no donation option. I'm not really saying that it can't be done. I'm sure it's probably done. Somebody's probably created a script or a plugin to where you can do that, but that's just something extra that you have to research in order to find. Let's see. Did I get that right? Yeah, chats, alerts, etc. It's just a URL you add. Yep. That's what I found out with the chats. When I did the chat, when I tried to do it the first time, I found out I did it the hard way. I tried to do scripting. I opened up Facebook Developer. I start taking stuff, cutting and pasting it, and it was not working. The other thing that I found out is that some stuff you can't do from your main timeline. Like I tried to do the chats to where it shows up on your main timeline. You can only do the chats from a personal page, which after thinking about it, it made sense because, all right, let's say I'm a gamer. And let's say the name that I'm using right now. My regular Facebook login is Kenyon Ellis. That's my regular Facebook. That goes to my timeline. That's my main page. Now, if I was a gamer, I would create a different page and call it The Kid. That would be where I would want all my gamers to tune in and to check out basically gaming stuff. I may not want to share my gaming stuff with all my friends. My gaming stuff may be available for some of my friends that are gamers and then other people that are gamers. So it made more sense to think about it. Okay, I may not want chat in my main video. Like if I'm out and about somewhere, whatever I'm doing the video, I may not want chat. I may want it whenever I'm sitting down doing some gaming or whatever. So at that point, it makes sense. And I tried it several different ways and I still couldn't get it. So I just left it alone. I said, okay, whenever I'm streaming, I'm gonna have to stream from The Kid if I want to get that, in case I want to get that video out. So, all right, let me move on because I'm already at 2 hours in. I haven't even opened up the program yet. So now let me open up. Let me get the banner back up. Let me open up OBS. Like I said, there's 2 different links that you would need to click in order to download each one. All right, the links that you want to click on in order to get your download, you want to go to obsproject.com. OBS Project, you go there and you click on whichever one that you want to use. Now, this is where I find out if you're using an old version, if you're using like Yosemite or Maverick on Mac, you're going to have to find an older version. This version, the newer version, is not going to work for you. I know a lot of people had problems where they couldn't get it to install. You have to go and find a different version. Now this is the original, and I don't know, you may have to Google that in order to find out where you need to click on in order to, like, I think you can go to downloads, and yeah, you go to downloads and you would go here, somewhere here, previously released. I think this is it. Nope, yep, this is it. Yep, you would need to go here to find previous versions and then find one for the operating system that you're trying to use it on. But this is OBS, and OBS stands for Open Broadcaster Software. That is what you use for that one. If you want to try the Streamlabs version, you can go here. It is now available, or it should be. If I remember right, I think it is available for Mac. Like I said, I only use it on Windows. I think it is available for Mac, but this is, and like I said, this one, it gives you a lot. It gives you a lot of function as for compared to the original one. If you needed to add that function, like right here, you see, and I'm gonna show how you can add that in if I have time. Try not to get this over 3 hours, but I think that's probably not gonna be possible. Or it may be just showing Windows because that's what I'm gonna go ahead and download it, just so I have it on here. It's only showing Windows because that's what I'm using, Windows. It won't probably show Mac. But anyway, that's what you need. You go to streamlabs.com or you go to obsprojects.com to download the ones that you're going to need. I'm ready. Here's my OBS screen. When you open OBS Studio, this is what you have. Now, the important things that you need to know, you're going to create scenes. Scenes is your main window that you will have. The more scenes that you can create, the more you can toggle through. And this is important that you want to have, to when you're using multiple camera angles. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. So I would suggest create lots of scenes and incorporate to where when you want to change a camera angle, you just changing the scene. Now you can create a scene and then you can create a duplicate of it so that you can alter that one to where you're using maybe the same sources or whatever in it. You won't have to recreate everything over and over. So I suggest making, if you have one scene to where you have your social media information, maybe Cash App and certain stuff, create one scene for it, put it aside, and then that one is your template to where you make copies of it whenever you add something else. All right, you have your scenes here at the bottom, and this is one thing that the original OBS does that Streamlabs doesn't do. With Streamlabs, you could do dashboard, and you have maybe 5 or so many different places or different positions that you can adjust. But I like to adjust to where I have my scene right there. Make that a little bit, well, I really don't need to make it that wide. My source stays under there, and if I want to make it longer, which most cases I do, because if I title my sources, it may be a long title. Now, it may have taken up a lot of my audio mixer, but here's what I do with this. Since I don't use the transition, the scene transitions that much, I take it and put it over here on this side. Oh, not right there, right there. I put that right there, and then I take my controls and I put it right under there. And let's, oh, my controls. Oh, I didn't even know I could do that. But since I use controls more than I use transitions, I just leave that right there. And I may want to bring it down a little bit. I usually bring it down. Yep, that's how I usually like it. And now I make my audio mixer and my sources about even. And then I have my program screen right here. Now to get started, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to plug in my C920 so I can do some multi-camera angles. And let's change it to, I'm going to make it into an overhead. Yeah, it's going to be an overhead today. All right, so now I got my C920 as my overhead. We'll bring it down so you can see it just a little bit off camera, but not too much. All right, so I'm gonna use my webcam, and I got two webcams. Now, if you're using this for music, I suggest getting rid of all your other let me click this off. Hold on, let's see. I got a question. Let's see. Slobs for Mac is available. Yep, I thought it was, but it didn't show up. Yep, I knew that it was, because I remember when it first went online, they said now available for Mac, but I didn't see it when I pulled it up there. So I guess it's a different link, it's not the same link. But I checked it earlier. I just didn't see it when I went to that version, because I mostly use Windows whenever I'm doing OBS. I don't really use it on my Mac that much. So I usually use it there. And I need to mute. I'm not using any audio, so, and it won't let me mute this one. All right, this is how you make quick scenes. All right. You're gonna start out with a default scene. I'm not even gonna do that. I'm gonna create a new scene, and I'm just gonna call it Tech Tuesday. You create your new scenes, click OK. There is my scene. Now, once you have your scene, you need to add sources. That's the workflow. I work from here, then I go here. And then if I need to add audio here, then I can start recording and do my changes here. Now, I forgot to mention this at first. When you first download it, you're going to run into an auto wizard or auto configuration. You're going to get this option right here. You're going to get the option to where it's going to say optimize for streaming, recording secondary, or are you going to be doing mostly recording and you won't be streaming? You want to go through and set that up, and it's going to set you up for a first time record whenever you get ready, or a first time stream. It'll probably do, if I remember right, it'll probably do your Twitch, YouTube, and other information, which let's go into that. Go into settings. And then go into stream. And depending on what you want to stream, Facebook Live, you got several different options. You got Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, 2 different versions, Facebook Live, Restream, 2 different versions, and then Twitch. And you can also add custom ones in. And this stuff is depending on where you streaming to. Excuse me. You would have to go and get that information. If you click on Get Streaming Key, it will open up my Facebook. And you can't see this right now because nope, you won't be able to see it. But it's going to my Facebook to where it can pull that information up, and I will copy and paste it back into here. So that's some stuff that you're going to need to do on your initial setup. But once you get that done, we're going back. We already created your scene. Now I want to let's add the webcam on the laptop as a source. I click on my plus to add. You got options here. Let's briefly go through the options. Your audio input is going to be whatever you're importing into for sound. Your audio capture, audio output capture is your output that you want to capture. I don't know, we haven't really used that too much. Your browser, which you'll see a little bit more of this in the advanced. Color source, I haven't really used that one that much. Display capture will just, if you have multiple displays, you can capture that, which I can't do it on this one. I would need to do it on the computer that I'm streaming from. Gaming capture is if you're gaming mostly and you're using a gaming capture card. Images is to import your images. If you have layouts, overlays, or whatever, you can do that. You can do an image slideshow if you have like a slideshow, film slideshow. You can have that added in. Media source, where you can add in audio and video clips. NDI, I'm gonna go into that later. Then you never really used the scene, but you can add scenes into a scene. I may have played with that one first. Then you have text, to where you can add text to your screen. And this is the one that I want to go on. I'm gonna use video capture device for my webcam. But the last one that you have window capture, where you can just capture a window, and then you can group certain stuff together. But I'm going to window capture, and this is what I want to do. And I'm creating a new. I already have the 920 listed, so you get to see how I do both. All right, let's go Asus webcam. All right, and boom, there it is. Now, one thing you may want to change after you do that. Now, if you have multiple connections, they will show up here. Since I'm using this as this specific cam, I have the title. I'm gonna let that stay. And what I want to do, I want to change my resolution on it, which I may not need to do it anyway, but I want it to go at the highest. So I'm gonna change this from default to custom. Okay. And then I want to set it at my highest, which is a 720, 1280, 720. And then match my output frames, which I'm gonna go to that after I create this. I'm gonna go into a little setting stuff, but I'm just gonna say 30 because that's about the best that it can do. And then I'm gonna click OK. And there, I got my webcam set. Now, whatever you have highlighted in red, that's what you can actually move and adjust right now. You can drag the corner and make it full screen. You may have some resolutions where it may not do this as much. If you need to change it, change the aspects that's outside of what you would normally want. If you hold down shift, like say if I want to make this wider, and then I would drag it. Oh, not, or is it control? There. Holding shift, I could change the aspects here. And like I said, with this version, once I change this, I can't get it back. I can't hit undo and it will go back. So to get this back where I got it, I'm just going to delete it and I'm going to recreate it. That's probably the easiest way that I can do this. Highlight it. Now, since I showed you that, yes, I want to undo it, but I'm going to recreate it real quick. So make sure whenever you creating something that you're certain about it, and that that's where you want it. But I want to keep the aspects at original, so that's why I wanted to do that. And I actually need a mouse to do this because working on this pad is hard. Now, if I want to do this to where I wanted to fill up the whole screen, and this is a shortcut that you can do. Right click or click on whatever to get this option. If you go to transform, go to stretch the screen, or sometimes even fit screen. But if you go stretch the screen, it'll fill up, it'll stretch to the whole screen. You can also do fit the screen, and depending on what the size of it, it will do the same. And that's something quick that you want to do. Now let's do add some text. Gonna do a lower third. Not even gonna change the color. I probably should have. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna double click on it, and I'm gonna go into properties. And like I said, you want to make sure that ain't working right. Go into properties for that, and I want to make sure that I make that a lowercase. Let's go ahead. Let's see if I can change the color. Make it red. And that is too big. I want it a little bit smaller. About right there. Now, if you have something, if you have your own logo, and I'm just going to show what you can do more. If you have your own logo, you would use image. If you have a logo that's motion, you would use media source. Let's see what else in here that you probably need to know. That's about it as for those. Now, if I want to impose a picture in a picture, I'm going to click on, I'm going to go to capture, and I'm going to get my webcam that's mounted above. It's already named. I'm going to add as existing. And that's why I say title the stuff, because it'll be easier to find these cameras instead of looking at whatever default 1, default 2, or source 1, source 2, whatever it calls it by default. You can find it by name. So it's always good to label everything. And now the reason that you can't see it because it's on top, and this may be a different there we go. And see, I already have the resolution out for it, but I'm gonna downscale this to 720 to match with my webcam on here. So now I have an overhead, and excuse the mess. And I can resize this to where it's not covering up my face. But you can see also what I'm doing, and then it's not taking away of a lot of what I'm doing. All right, let's go into some options here. Let's see. Here is your full projection for your preview. Let me see if this is, oh, that's not what I want. That's if you want to see what your preview looks like full screen. That is not the one I want to look at. All right, now, if you, like I said earlier, what you want to do, like if this is what I want to use this as a template and create copies, I would go here and create a copy of this before I make any other changes. And I would do duplicate. And let's just say keep it number 2. Now, they're the exact same. I could make alterations to number 2 without it changing what I did in number 1. Okay, hold on. Let me see. I got some questions here. Let's see, since you're, yeah, that's what I was saying. It showed the Windows version because I wasn't on Mac. And I didn't think about that until I start closing that. I'm like, okay, it probably not showing it because I'm on Windows. Some, just like with the original, with the OBS project, it showed all of them, but with that one, it didn't. So that was the option that I ran it. That was the problem I ran into there. Game capture would display a specific app you have open, designed for grabbing footage of a PC game running on the same computer. Okay, I wasn't for sure about the game capture because I haven't used it for gaming. If I start to do gaming stuff, I may wait until I get the Black Magic and use it for that. Use that for gaming, which really I don't do PC gaming. It'll be with my PS4. I play Division 2, so I may start doing a little bit with that, but I'm not for sure when I'm going to do it. I have Division 2 on PC, which I haven't even installed and played it yet. It was, I think it was a $2 or $2.99 sale on it, and that's why I got it. And I haven't even started yet. So that's something that I'm probably going to do later on. But thanks for keeping me up on the heads up of that. All right, like I said, create. If you're going to be using the same scenes multiple times, create copies, create duplicates. And like I said, you highlight it and you create a duplicate. What else real quick? Because this is about the basics. All right, let's go into settings. Let's go into settings before I actually try to do a stream. All right, settings, not going to go into a whole lot. I wouldn't really mess with a whole lot of stuff. I like using dark themes for everything because I don't really like the bright or colors or whatever. I like everything to be dark. and it takes the brightness away from my screen, keeping it from having everything too bright. With your stream, I think I went into stream earlier. This is where you would need to go depending on where you're streaming. In the advanced part, I'm going to go into OBS, not OBS, but Restream. And if I have time, I'm probably going to do Yellow Duck as well, depending on how long it takes me to do it. Your output, this is one thing that I want to do. Depending on, just like I have two webcams at different output. Let me make sure that you can see me here. My stream for my webcam on the Asus is at 720. My stream for here can do 1080. Now I matched this one to match that one 720. Now, in the case that if I wanted to have a match, but I don't make the changes directly in them, I can do it here. Well, what? No, that's not here. That's video. Let me go ahead and go to that. Right here in video, to where it says currently active. Please turn off any outputs. All right, what do I have? What outputs do I have open? Shouldn't have anything open. Okay, it's saying that I have something open. We're just gonna bypass that. But right here, my base resolution is at 1080. I would want to change that to make it 720. So what I'm seeing on my screen is what's going to be streamed out. Now the output resolution is what I'm actually streaming out. So in some cases you may want your base to be better than your output stream, or vice versa. Let's see, and also change your frames per second, which I don't know why this is locked up. Something in it is locked up. Let's see. All right, not gonna worry about that right now. Let me go back up to, I think I was on output. Now, depending on, and this is another thing that you want to do whenever you're about to get ready to do a live stream, do a stream test. You need to find out what you're able to put out on the upload side, because download doesn't matter at this point. Your upload side and your ping whenever you're doing a speed test. So make sure you do a ping or a speed test. Right now, my bit rate is too high for my stream. I downgraded my internet package to save on the bill, and right now my upload stream probably won't get no more than 3 megs per second. This is set for my stream to do at 8. So I would want to download or downscale this down to, let's see, I would probably even want to do 500, which means 0.5. And audio, my audio, I would do that one. You could do that one at max. I would suggest doing audio at max, because if you're playing MP3s or whatever your music format is, you're not going to be doing anything over 320. So you can go ahead and set it 320. So whatever you're playing out is streaming out at that. And so these are the only two that you want to change. And you only want to change it depending on your internet speed. So you want to make sure you do a ping and an upload speed test first, which you can go to speedtest.net in order to get that done. Audio, and right here, like I say, if you're doing audio and you're only doing audio by connecting your mixer and your controller, disable everything else only have that one connected. And let me close this for a second. Hey, cancel. Go ahead, click OK. And I'm gonna add an audio source. Add an audio input. And let's call this Tech Tuesday Audio. Oh, and I misspelled that. And right here is asking me what I want to use for my audio device. Now, if you're doing, and if you go back to whether you're using your mixer or your controller as an audio input device, if you have a USB mixer, if you're using anything besides cable, this is where you're going to select that option. You're going to look for the option there. If you're using the S9, you look for whatever it says about S9 and you select it here. If you're using a controller and a 6, Pioneer SZ, X3, whatever, you want to use it here. This is where you want to connect to. But right now, since I only have microphones connected, and I don't have anything I can directly use. Actually, I do. And I have this for sale. I have this Newmark. I had this mixer for a while, and it's posted for sale. It's brand new condition. I took it out the box just to test it. But the thing is, it has, and I'm going to have to use this camera. It has close this for a second or move it out the way if I can. It has 2 USB ports on it. So I can use one as a DVS and I can use the other to record and stream from. But I'm not really going to do that. But anyway, that's for sale. Anybody looking for $150, you can have it. So, but if I was using that to connect, that's what I would use. And I got rid of my screen. Oh, there it is. So my options is the Logitech cam and the internal on there, which I don't want to use any. So I'm not even going to add it. And I think it may have did default. And right here, you see in my audio mixer, where is it? It's going to be at the bottom. Tech Tuesday. And it's probably, it's using the Logitech. Yep, it's using the Logitech. So all the rest of them, I would just mute those out. Asus webcam, I don't need it. That one, I don't need it. And even if I want to, I can go and I think this is where I can delete them. Go into audio or disable them here. They should have showed up here. Desktop audio, disable. Okay. Let's disable them all. See which one is left open. There we go. All of them are disabled except for one. these other features, these are hotkeys. I'm not really going to get into hotkeys. That's more of an advanced feature. But with audio, one other thing that I'm going to mention, and everything else is going to be advanced. I'm just going to mention it, and this is not advanced, is that you have audio plugins. If you go to your audio source and double click or right click, you go to filters, you can add different audio filters. And these are the options that you add. You can add more, you can add compression. Let's not get in, not going to deal with that because we're not going to use NDI, expander, but mostly compression, gain, limiter, noise gate, noise suppression. Those are the ones that DJs may use. There is one for auto ducking, which if you want to use additional mic, like if you're using a line mixer or if you're using something else as your microphone instead of running it directly to your mixer or your controller, you could create a different different source for audio and have that one for mic, and then have that filter for auto ducking on to where when you talk, it will lower your music to where you can add it over. And I can't remember exactly where I saw that one, but I've seen that one. I've seen it before, and I'm gonna have to play around with it a little bit more to figure out how it works. All right, so I think that's it for for the beginner. What else am I forgetting? I guess I can go ahead and show you how to get start on your stream. Once you get all that set up, and we're gonna do a start stream, and I'm even gonna do a record. You hit start streaming and start recording. And this is another thing that you also want to take note. And I may not be able to do it. Can I exit? Oh, I gotta do my stream key. So I gotta go here. Stream key. And like I said, it's gonna take you, you probably can't see this, but it's taking me. Okay, what happened? Okay, yep. You're not gonna be able to see this because it's taking me out to my Facebook, and now it's taking me to the live stream, which let me change the way the shared screen. That's what I did. I removed my shared screen. Or no, StreamYard removed my shared screen. Let me do it differently. I'm gonna do it. All right, here we go. Now this is where I'm gonna copy my key. And you also gonna need to have this open in order to actually start your stream. And I've copied it, and I want to remove my old key. Now I'm pasting my new key. And click apply, click OK. Now that's ready to go. All right, go back to stream. When I click on get key, it will take me here. And well, this one is different. I'm using Facebook Live Producer, but you would get a screen similar to like this. You go down to the bottom, you're looking for a streaming key. You copy that key, and you need to leave that window open because you need it to start your stream. Go back because it clicked me off of that. So I go here and but in like Restream, you won't need to do this in Restream. Restream will already set it up, and now I got my key set. And right now I'm just streaming to my main page. I'm not streaming to the kid, which I'm gonna do that in the advanced, so I can do some of the advanced stuff. And now I'm ready to go. I should be able to click start and then start recording. Now the thing you want to monitor down here at the bottom, you want to make sure that this is green. If it goes yellow and orange, then your bit rate, and just like it did right there, and it's probably going to do that because I'm doing a lot. I'm starting the stream. I'm streaming here. I'm sure the kids are upstairs doing who knows what on their computers or their gaming systems or whatever. So I don't have a lot of upload to work with. So if whatever I'm working with, that's what I have to work with. But oh, and I got a lot of drop frames. You don't want to have a lot of drop frames. I'm going to have this right now. And I haven't really even started streaming. I just started the streaming on OBS, but I haven't started the streaming on Facebook. And right here is showing that I've started it about 1 minute, 15 seconds. Recording about the same because I stopped and restarted. And then it shows my CPU is at 25% at 30 frames per second. So now I'm ready to go and start my stream here. I need to reload this page. And now I'm ready to go live. All right, what I want to do, I want to give it a title. You want to give everything a title. Now I'm ready to go live. At this point right now, you're not live. You're not actually live. So until you click this go live button, you will actually go live. Now, one thing I would tell everybody to do, make sure you do a test. Make sure you test your stream. If you want to go live without anybody seeing you, here's the way you can do it. Just change this from public to only me. This way, when you click go live, nobody won't be able to see you. You can go and check it out from your timeline or your main page to where only you will be able to see it. And that's what you want to do. You want to check it out from another computer or another source, especially with good audio, headphones on or speakers or whatever, so you can hear your sound and make sure everything is running clean before you actually do a test. Now, I could recommend do this every time you go live, because your speeds may change, something may change and may alter that stream. So do it before you go live, just like you would do a sound check whenever you set up and get ready to start an event or a gig. This is the same thing that applies. You need to make sure your video is good, your audio is good, and your stream is doing good. And it's going to take a while to do, because you're going to have a delay from the time I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it may take 30 seconds before you hear that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're going to have to allow that delay or that latency, which there's no way to fix that. You will have latency. I probably say in the next 10 years or whatever, they may have that corrected to where everything is instantly, you say it is done. But whenever you're streaming and you have all the stuff that's processing and moving, and then it has to process another location and be sent back, you're going to have this problem. So it's not really a problem. It's just something that we're facing in the beginning of streaming. But as time goes on, the next couple of years, probably next 5 years, this will be like dial-up. It'll be something we'll be laughing about. But anyway, I'm ready to go live. And this is when you'll know that you're going live. You're going live, you'll see the end video here. See, I'm live for like 10 seconds or whatever. And you know what I should have did? I didn't think about this. And this is another point too. Whenever you're streaming, do a cable connection. Don't use Wi-Fi. The only reason I'm using the Wi-Fi is because I was going to do, I felt something tickle my head. The only reason I'm using Wi-Fi is I was going to do an NDI connection with an NDI connection from laptop to laptop, which I go into that next week, which I've been successful at doing that. And I don't know if I have a cable long enough to reach from. So make sure you do a cable connection versus the only thing I mentioned that I wasn't going to go through, and it has no play into this, is that yeah, my live ended, and I don't want to keep it. I want to delete it. Confirm. And make sure whenever you stop, you have to go back. You have to go stop your actual stream first. And then stop your streaming in OBS, and then stop your recording. Now, in the case of what I did, or what happened where my stream was not that good, my stream may be glitchy. Since I recorded it, I could take the recording and put it on Facebook in place of that, to where my live stream is actually recorded, but it's not as glitchy. I wouldn't be having all the problems that I was having with the stream. Everything would have went as with the recording. It didn't stop whatsoever. It kept recording. I got kicked off live. At the time I got kicked off live, I was still recording. So nothing was left out of it. So one thing you want to do is make sure that you keep recording. And that's about it, guys. I am done. I am tired. I am hungry. So make sure you tune in next week, or check out the next time that I finish up with this, because I got written down what I'm going to do next. I may add more as I go in to learn more. So make sure you catch me in the advanced segment of DJ live streaming. This is the kid. I will catch y'all next week. Talk to you later. Peace.